Okay, today we're going to take a look at a jazz standard called Misty, written by Earl Gardner back in the 1950s, who, excellent pianist, jazz musician, didn't read or write music, but he is pretty successful um, as a songwriter and a jazz musician. So I'm going to play through solo guitar arrangement of Misty, and then we'll go back and talk about it a little bit and look at the chart also. Okay, so there's the basic tune, Misty, in AABA form. 32 bar standard song form, and I'm doing it in the key of E flat major. So let's take a look at the chart here. Okay, here we go. And okay, we'll see. Basic real book chart. Book put together back in the 70s by students at the Berklee School of Music in Boston. A basic chart of a lot of standard jazz tunes with the chord symbols and the melody. And some of a major seventh is going to mean a major type chord. Doesn't always have to be just an E flat major 7. It could be an E flat major 9 or E flat with a 6. Well, it's a major type chord. B flat minor 7. They used that little slash to indicate minor. I prefer to use a small m, but as long as you know that that means B flat minor 7 to an E flat dominant 7. Okay, so root flat 3 5 flat 7, and then this is a root 3 5, a major triad with a minor 7th, dominant 7th. This is a 2 5 progression in the key of A flat. Okay, major. So most of the chords are going to be pretty much minor 7, dominant 7, and major 7, 2, 5, 1s. On the bridge, we get into so a couple different dominant chords. E flat 7 with a flat 9 is simply an altered dominant chord, where the altered tones are considered flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, and sharp 5. Can be added often to a dominant chord to give it a little more flavor and substance. And then with the minor 7 chord also could be, it means a minor type chord. Could be minor 9, minor 11, minor with a 6 and a 9. And a lot of that will depend on if you're playing with a smaller group where a guitar or a keyboard is the only chord instrument. You'll have a fair amount of freedom and flexibility to, use some chord substitutions and change things up a little bit. Down here, we get into a G minor 7 flat 5, which is a half diminished chord. Okay, the half diminished chord is a minor 7 chord with a flatted 5th. And by half diminished, we mean root, flat 3, flat 5, and a flat 7, as opposed to a fully diminished chord with a little circle would have a double flatted 7th. Fully diminished would be root, flat 3, flat 5, and double flatted 7. And we're not seeing any fully diminished chords. And then this chord here is typical of a 2 chord in a minor key. We're a G minor 7 flat 5 to a C7 altered to F minor. This is a 2-5-1 in the key of F minor. Temporarily, we're in F minor, but then this F minor sort of functions as a pivot chord. In a way, pivot chord meaning it's a one chord, 1 minor in this key, but then it's also a 2 chord in the key of E flat, leading back to E flat. So F minor 7 to B flat is a 2-5, leading to E flat to get back to your A section. Okay, so as we look at this and analyze it, we want to basically, starting off, that D note, how does the D note relate to E flat major 7 chord? It's the 7th in the scale. And then with the B flat minor 7, immediately it's starting to modulate and change keys, right? Go to A flat major, and then from the A flat major to what we call the parallel minor, A flat minor, but then that's really part of the D flat 7 is a 2 chord in G flat major, but it doesn't go to G flat major. So that's like a deceptive type cadence. Seems like it's going to G flat, but then you go back to the E flat. And a 1, 6, 2, 5 in E flat. And then a little turnaround, G minor, C7, back to repeating the A section. So basic progression, E flat going Dorian to Mixolydian modes in A flat. Then Dorian to Mixolydian in G flat. But instead of going to G flat, we go to E flat. And then the second ending, E flat 6, I usually go up to E and then back to the, oops, then into the bridge, back to more extended A flat, key of A flat. And often jazz we shift in half steps, the second part of the bridge, A minor 7. It's like down a half step from that B flat 7 to D7 to an F7. And then we talked about that minor 2-5, F minor, but then F minor to B flat, back to the E flat major 7. And usually we'll have that 2-5 here at the end to bring it back, and then start possibly a solo section. Okay, so when I first played it, as we were opening up, I played the melody fairly straight the first time through, but then started to do variations on it the second time through. And that's one thing if you're doing a single line solo, like on a sax or trumpet, trombone, flute, clarinet, whatever, then often you're just doing single line. And so instead of playing the melody like, then you can start to just do a variation on the melody, change it up a little bit, maybe still keep parts of it intact. And also if you have a situation where you're holding a note like that first, da, 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 that's a dotted half note at a slower tempo. You could throw something in, embellish it. And then maybe come back to the melody. Change it up a little bit. Going to the bridge. usually done like as a slow ballad, but some arrangements it's been done like a more of a swing tempo where you could pick it up, do a swing, a medium up swing tempo. Also, another thing you can do is if you're doing your single line solo, it's good to try to practice it without any accompaniment at all, but still keep track of the beat, the tempo, and exactly where you are. For example, let's say I'll do the A section. Let's do the chords first. And then I'm going to solo from the beginning. Bridge. So essentially outlining the chords, and because if you have a progression like say the 2-5-1 going to A flat major, you can use the A flat major scale. But if the chords aren't there, if you're just playing completely solo, you're going to want to outline, or even if there is a band with you, you still want to outline that B flat major minor 7 chord. Know how those notes, single notes, relate to the chord, and E flat 7 arpeggio, and then the A flat major 7. So when you're soloing, you'll be able to hear those chord changes, and often it's good for that type of playing to work out an exercise, write out, either for guitarists, either in tab or notation, and exercises using straight eighth notes that really stay on top of those chord changes. So you're emphasizing each individual chord and not just one scale. If you're thinking just one scale, then of course, E flat scale will work for the first measure. A flat major will work here. And then here we have a 2-5 in G flat. Then we're back to E flat here. And then this is really, it's a 2-5 in F and then a 2-5 in E flat. But the G minor is actually a 3 chord in E flat. So but you really want to play eventually more off each individual chord as much as possible. And especially with a ballad like this, slower tempo, it's just more accessible for people that are fairly new to improvisation to do that. Okay, so it's a good tune to work on, good standard to know. Work out solo arrangements, work out also single note solos on it. And I'm going to play through the whole thing again one more time, but this time with slightly different, variation on it. And I'm going to play the whole form one time. So the first A section, I'm going to stay pretty close to the melody. Second A section, start to do some variations on that melody. And then for the bridge, this time I think I'll do some variations on the melody. And then for the last A section, some variations, but probably come back to the melody at the end there. And I'll do a little intro too. Turnaround introduction here. Okay, so there you have it, a little work on the jazz standard Misty. And once again, my name is Stephen Summers. I teach jazz music class at Washtenaw Community College in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and also teach privately, and then the YouTube channel, Stephen H. Summers, and then also a website, stephenhsummers.com, and work with a band, jazz trio, and then different groups. Have my own variety band also. And anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Bye now.